Hello friends, it's me. Today I want to talk about what is widely considered to be the greatest story ever told. But first, there are two versions to this story. So, I'll go through each one. I'll tell you about them, show you clips from the radio and the movie. And if you have any thoughts, please let me know down below. Now without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so the first version of the greatest story ever told was on the radio. It ran for 10 years from January 26, 1947 to December 30, 1956. This was an American religious drama that aired weekly on Sunday nights from 9 to 10 p.m. on the ABC radio network. The series followed the life of Jesus Christ, covering his birth, teachings, death, and resurrection. What made this production unique was that it featured no commercial breaks. The only interruption to their long program was a brief announcement from Goodyear at the end to promote their tires, and this might seem like a minor detail, but in the world of radio drama, where sponsors were everything, this was a bold move to secure this sponsorship and allow for uninterrupted storytelling. The producers had to cut out all references to other products and even had to avoid mentioning certain topics such as hell and damnation. Despite these challenges, the series was well received by critics and audiences alike, who praised its integrity and non-denominational portrayal of Jesus Christ. In fact, it was awarded the 1949 Peabody Prize for its high standards of excellence in programming. The voice of Jesus was never given a name or billed in the credits, which led to much speculation about the actor's identity. However, the mystery was solved in the 1990s when researchers discovered that the role was played anonymously by Warren Parker. Overall, this radio drama was a pioneering effort in the realm of religious programming, setting the stage for future adaptations and helping to introduce the New Testament to a broader audience. If you'd like to listen to a few episodes, I've linked a playlist from the Internet Archive down below. Alright, now for the second version. The greatest story ever told was also the title of an epic film released in 1965. It was directed by George Stevens and starred Max von Sydow in the role of Jesus. The movie boasted a massive ensemble cast including Charlton Heston, John Wayne, Sidney Poitier, Telly Savalas, Claude Rains, Shelley Winters, and many others. Due to the scope of the project, the film was produced and released by Paramount Pictures rather than Stevens' usual studio, Columbia Pictures. The film was shot in the breathtaking widescreen format known as Ultra Panavision 70, which used 7 perforations to allow for a wider aspect ratio than conventional cinema. To capture the vast landscapes and grand spectacles of biblical times, the filming took place in various locations throughout Utah and Arizona. The production scale was unprecedented, with over 2,000 extras and animals used in one scene alone. It cost a staggering $20 million to make, which was the most expensive amount ever spent on a U.S. film up to that point. In comparison, Gone with the Wind, which had previously held the record for the most expensive film, had cost only $15 million to make. The film premiered at over 260 minutes long, which caused some controversy as it was too long to fit in a single program on most theater screens. Eventually, it was trimmed to 141 minutes for general release, although some versions exceeded 190 minutes. The film begins with the story of Jesus' birth in Bethlehem and follows his life from his baptism by John the Baptist to his crucifixion and resurrection. The dialogue is mostly taken directly from the Bible, and the film stays relatively close to the Gospels in depicting Jesus' parables and miracles. The casting of Max von Sydow as Jesus was met with mixed reviews. Some felt that he was too old for the role, while others praised his performance. His portrayal was seen as more mystical and less human than some previous depictions of Jesus. Von Sydow himself was initially hesitant to accept the role, having previously played the part in a Swedish film. However, he was convinced to do it after meeting with George Stevens, who assured him that he would not be typecast and that the film would not be preachy. Alright, now let's talk about the critical and audience response to the film. The reviews were mixed, with some praising the film's grandeur and von Sydow's performance, and others criticizing its slow pacing and celebrity cameos. For example, Bosley Crowther of the New York Times called it a grandiloquent, if somewhat arid retelling of the Christian story. While Newsweek magazine said that it was as solemn and long-winded as a church social, the movie manages to combine the worst qualities of Hollywood's spectacular and religious tract. One particularly memorable cameo came from John Wayne, who played the part of Thomas, one of Jesus' disciples. His booming voice and folksy mannerisms were a far cry from his usual swaggering heroes, but his performance was generally well received. In fact, there's a line that he says in the movie that has become quite famous. After witnessing the resurrection, Thomas exclaims, "Truly, this man was the Son of God." This line was seen as a bold declaration of faith and became a popular catchphrase among Christians. Despite its positive reception in some circles, the film was a commercial disappointment. It grossed around $12.1 million worldwide, which was far short of the $35 to $38 million that it needed to break even. As a result, the film diminished the appetite for big-budget biblical epics, which had been popular in the 1950s and 60s. However, the film still earned a spot in the 1965 National Board of Review's Top 10 Films and remains a cultural touchstone for many people. It continued to air frequently on television during Easter and Christmas, and its iconic status was solidified in 1990 when it was added to the National Film Registry. Despite its flaws, The Greatest Story Ever Told remains a fascinating and ambitious film that attempted to capture the essence of Jesus' life and teachings. It may not be a cinematic masterpiece, but it is certainly a significant work of art that deserves our attention. Alright, that's all I have for today. I hope you enjoyed my overview of The Greatest Story Ever Told. Please let me know what you think about the radio version and the movie down below. Which one did you prefer? Do you have a favorite character or scene? And do you have any other suggestions for videos that I could make in the future? Thank you so much for watching. Please take care and stay creative.